Hello, everyone. I am loving the fact that I get to share some of my life and insights with you in this way. I love video. If you follow me at all or engage with me at all, you know I'm not a fan of typing out my thoughts. I am not creative. I have trouble putting stories together, and it just takes me forever. And so, in a perfect world scenario, I would love to just talk to you all day long. So, was just having some aha moments this week. And I started to think about how important it might be to share with you because it really just made me realize how maybe a lot of people that are in my circle might not know what it is that I do or who I am as far as my job and my business. And I think sometimes it takes you like having that conversation with somebody else that's completely outside of your world to have you go, oh, duh, right? You're having this aha moment. So, if you were following me a little bit, you know that on Sunday, I took my mom down to Florida for the winter. She's a snowbird. So we are up here in New Hampshire, northern New Hampshire. And she's here in the summer at her home here across the street from us, and then spends the winter months down in Florida. Best of all worlds, right? So now that she's a little bit older, my father has not been with us for a number of years, so she struggles with the transition, which is another reason why we moved up here on a permanent basis so that we could help her with the transition when she got here. She's still pretty, what do you want to call it? Independent. She drives still and things like that. But there's times where she needs a lot more help. So the part of that is that anxiety of going on the plane and getting there, and she needs a wheelchair. She can't walk and stuff for a long, super long time. And so getting ready to bring her down there. My sister and I take turns doing that. So my sister's in Orlando, so she'll sometimes bring her up in the summer, and then I've been bringing her back down there. So it's been really great to be able to spend a couple days with her and stuff. Although we are really missing her now that she's not here. It's just one thing about her, just like being across the street, right? Just knowing that she's there. So we're kind of going through that right now. But when I was down there, I was like, I'm working and I've got appointments and I've got calls and things that I'm on. And I was explaining to her that I had a course that I had started, that I'm doing this recruiting course, and I'm learning a little bit more about, how to, talk to the people on social media that I'm trying to find, right? Like my people, trying to find my people, like I explained that to her. And, she says to me, well, what does recruiting have anything to do with your workouts and what you do with Beachbody? And I was like, okay, now, so it really made me think about, okay, she really had like how to put the two and two together, right? And it really made me think, okay, how do I explain this to her that a way that she'll understand what my business is, how my job is, right? And then also made me think about, gosh, I'm not just Beachbody, right? Like that's what she sees, that I do these Beachbody workouts at home, right? Like she sees me at home. She doesn't really follow me on social media. She's not part of my team, or my environment. So she get this little small piece, right? So it really made me think about, okay, what is the best way to explain this, right, to somebody that is in the outside world looking in? Before I was a Beachbody coach, I ran my own AV company. So I sold, designed, and installed sound systems to bars and restaurants, and retail and things like that. But let's use a restaurant for an example, right? So I would find my person, my restaurant that needed help. However, those leads were generated. Oh my gosh, back in the day, it was phone calls, it was yellow pages. I would find my people that way. And I would go in and I would sit with them and I would talk to them about, what their problem was, what they're struggling with. Were they looking to enhance the ambiance in the restaurant? Were they looking to make turnover quicker with the patrons, right, or perceived wait time, right? Like, what was the problem that this restaurant was having, and how could I solve that for them? And we would go through a myriad of conversation. I would ask lots of questions. I would uncover what their issues were, and I would then match solutions to fit what their problem was. So if it was a speaker, let's say, for a sound system that I was going to install, or maybe it was some sort of digital signage for the wall, like screen, or maybe it was television, it was a sports bar, and they were looking to do something with that sort of feel, right? So depending on what the customer's problem was, I would match them with a solution, and then we would move forward. So the solution could have been any myriad of brand of things that we had. There would be a reason why I would talk to somebody about using a JBL speaker versus a Bose speaker. There were instances where, they only had so much to spend and had a budget. So I knew I could go in and use a different type of a brand, right? Or like if it was a music concept that they were looking to create, did they want a custom solution, or did they want something that was just in the background? Was it instrumental, or did it had to be part of the brand of the restaurant, right? So there was a lot of different things for me, and I wouldn't go into the restaurant and say, here's your menu, you choose, because the customer doesn't know what their choice answer is, right? It would be up to me to uncover the problem and then offer a solution to fix the problem, to enhance and make the restaurant better, to increase their, whatever they're looking to, if it's turnover for customers and things like that, like, right, that's like what what they're looking to accomplish, right? So I was a problem solver. And it's funny because it really hasn't been until the last couple of years where I started to think, this really is not much different than that. The products are different, right? So I explained to my mom, remember, because so this is an industry that I grew up in. My dad was very successful and had his own business in the 80s doing this thing, designing sound systems, restaurants and things. And back in the day, it was a way different animal than it is now with all the technology. But essentially, it's the same concept, right? He would go in, he would install sound systems, design them based on the needs and things like that. So I explained it to her in that analogy because she knew what my father did for a living, very successful at what he did. And, she was ingrained in that as like I was. So I would tell her, I gave her this analogy. Like, we were in a restaurant talking about dinner. So we were having dinner while we were talking about it. So I was like, looking around, right? See these speakers, like they're placed for a reason, right? There's a reason why, all these things, right? And so I said, as a health and fitness coach, I do the same thing. I talk to someone about they're either experiencing an issue, they're struggling with something, or having a problem that they want to change. And then it's my job as the problem solver to uncover with questions how I can solve that, right? And Beachbody is just a small piece of that puzzle, if even somebody warranted that as their solution, right? So when I try to explain, to her that the product itself is Beachbody and Shakeology and the supplements and those tangible things, the solution really is serving that for somebody else, right? And that's just the small piece, like the vehicle in which you create the solution. However, if I discovered that someone was local to me and they wanted to train in person, or I felt like that was a better fit for them, they needed in-person training or nutrition coaching over and above some of the other things that I offer, then that would be the solution, right? So I'm a problem solver in that same regard when it comes to your health. And I could also say to you, look, here's this big menu, you choose, but that's not how I like to handle it, right? This is something that I'm an expert in my industry and what it is that I do. And there's so many different, prices and options and things and stuff that I can offer you. But in order for me to really find out what your need is, I ask all those questions and then match you to something that I know is going to help you to change your problem, change your solution, lose weight, gain muscle, whatever's going on, right? And I think obviously with people, it's a lot different because I'm not just asking you to buy a speaker. I'm not just asking you to buy background music where you could like return it or change it out, right? Asking you to change your lifestyle. So behavior changes are like even harder to work with and walk people through. So I'm definitely much more hands-on than someone that I would walk in and I would design their system for them and then walk out, that's not usually the end of how it went. A lot of customers had me customize their sound system, their music services for them. So I would custom make playlists and stuff based on what their needs were and stuff too. But, where we started from with this conversation with my mom was how does, recruitment come into play with what it is that I do with Beachbody. And so, when I owned my own company and I was the installer, not the installer, but the sales and the design, right? So in that respect, I had employees, right? And I would hire other salespeople. We had a sales force that we created. The difference was that I was the business owner. This was my company. They were getting commissions that I was paying them as an employee, right? The difference with Beachbody is that it's still creating a sales force, except the individuals are their own entity and they're creating their own solutions for people. And I love that analogy, and that was a big part of what drew me in the beginning, because being a business owner and having my own brick and mortar business and, inventory and a fleet of trucks and paying utilities and rent and all that stuff, having employees and then seeing the business model for something like network marketing, direct sales, it was like, I am still a problem solver. I am still doing all these things. The benefits are that I'm working on myself in the process and that I'm also creating an organization, but the people are still independent to themselves. So they're not my employees and I'm not their boss. And I honestly think it's like the best of both worlds. But it's like creating an organization and creating a sales force together, but you're also your own entity in that way. And when I was explaining that to her, I said, I still own my own business. I still am in charge of my own organization and I'm still growing a sales force. The difference is that I'm creating and not creating, I'm developing leaders and I'm helping other women who are like me into health and fitness and love health and fitness, develop them into leaders and show them how to do this process and replicate that over and over and over. So, for me, I think that I get the most excited when I think about that aspect of the business. When I first started with Beachbody, when I first started doing my workouts at home, it was really just about me, my time. I was trying to save time, trying to juggle all the things and do my thing from home. And at the same time going through the motions with this business that we had, our family business. And I really, really didn't know any better. Really, I really was never asked about my goals or if there was something I was passionate about. This was sort of like the family business that I was thrown into. I really didn't think about it, to be honest with you. And then that was a different era too, right? This was almost 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about how long it was, so when that solution was offered to me, an opportunity like this, it was a no-brainer. And I felt like I was so already invested in my personal fitness and health with the programs and the products, and I love them so much. To this day, I still get fantastic results and like geek out over the trainers and the super weekend events that we have and all this stuff. Like I still absolutely am so passionate and love all the programs and the products and all of that stuff. And so it was a no-brainer for me to go in. I loved walking into somebody's restaurant and designing a sound system for them that they could get excited about. Okay. But I wasn't passionate about speakers or music, really, like not really my thing. But what excited me was solving the problem for the person, was seeing them know that they were going to have a successful restaurant as a result of what I had accomplished and created for them, right? So now today, all these years later, my goals in the beginning with this business were that freedom and that flexibility of time, because I was like, married to our family business, and I was never home. The kids were in daycare and all that stuff. So now I had seen this opportunity to like be home, right? And to build my business from home, still take care of myself in my health and my fitness, which I loved and was so excited about, but then also build an organization of women and develop leaders that could do the same thing, right? That I could instill that passion in, and have them be as excited as I am about helping other women go to the next place and develop and find that health and fitness path and feel amazing, and find that what lights them up, and all of those things with personal development and all the things that work together, right? So today, that is definitely my favorite thing about this business, is working with our teams and our organizations, and developing leaders. And then also the real fun part for me is going into my online groups. Like this morning, I checked into our fit gym, and the women in there who are freaking killing it. And I can see that spark starting with them. And it won't be too long before they are ready to pay that forward to somebody else too. And that's like, it's almost like it comes full circle at that point, right? It's sort of like when you drink the Kool-Aid, like I drink the Kool-Aid, and so I'm like contaminating you now, and you're all excited and happy to work out. And then you're contaminate somebody else, and so on and so on. And it really is the best feeling to just see all the women in there, encouraging each other, exciting. I had a tag this morning on Facebook with somebody else that just started, and she is excited about getting, going in her workouts. And it's really just the best feeling. And I cannot say that I ever got like giddy after installing a sound system, although it was fun to go to, if any of you guys are from the Boston area, we did the Sports Depot back in the day. They were the first big screen place down, big screen TV. They're right by Fenway. So we did get to celebrate one of the Red Sox championship games with their new sound system and TVs and all that stuff. That was super fun. But not like it is with today with my organization. So anyway, sorry, so long-winded. I just really I had this aha moment. I was thinking, you know what? I really think I want to explain this in a way that maybe other people need to understand too. If my mom is not really getting how I go from here to leading an organization and working out in my basement, like maybe other people, need to have that explanation like nailed out for them too. So I'm always here to answer any questions that you guys have. I want you to know that I'm an open door. Network marketing was a brand new thing for me. I didn't know anything about it when I started. I actually didn't even know there's all these negative connotations to it. I think just because people have had bad experiences, that's where that comes from. But it's really an awesome and smart business model. And once you understand a little bit more, you can understand that too. And so, getting into the business was an amazing a journey for me. So next week on the 26th, I am going to be restreaming live. I'm going to be doing a coach info behind the scenes event. I usually do them about once a month. Talk to you guys about how I got started. I mean, I tell my story all the time about how I got started, so probably just skip to the good stuff. But I really do love to share as much as I can about the business. Share what network marketing means, the business model, and what it means to be a coach on our team, and what coaching means. I think that's also just like a weird word maybe for some people. I think if you're a fitness professional, you know what coaching means. If you coach sports, you know what a coach does. But really, a coach is like a guide, right? A guide that helps you through something. And I just explained to you that in my previous business, I was a professional problem solver, right? That's really what it is. And you don't need to be an expert. You just need to ask a lot of questions in order to get there. So when you're taking someone through the process of guiding them through the system, it's really just plug and play. I think that the biggest thing for most people is you got to really love what you're doing, and love the programs and love the products. And that's where you're going to be successful. It's not like, you're just slinging product, right? Slinging shakes or slinging a piece of some, equipment. It's not like that. It's about behavior changes. It's about really getting, creating relationships with people. So I can't wait to share more with you guys about that next week. But I love to share a lot as often as I can, because it really helps to like debunk all of these things that people, these preconceived notions, we sometimes hear so much noise going on here and there and the other thing, and it sways us, right? Whether it's negative news media, or it's about, diet culture, or whatever negative things are happening inside your world, we then get slanted on our opinions and our thoughts. So I really just love to come in and educate as much as I can, to help you guys understand. And and if it's not for you, then that's okay. It's never my job to convince you of anything. It's only my job to educate you on the possibilities, on the opportunity, and what it could be, right? Life has changed so much for us over the last, several years alone. And like, life is different. Things are different. The world is different. The way that we pursue work and our passions and our self-care and all of these different things it's different today than it was back in the day when I was designing sound systems, for bars and restaurants. I'm sure lots of people still do that successfully, but I feel like the world is different. Like I said, that was 10 years ago. It's kind of nuts to think about it like that. 2013, like, where were you, right? Yeah. Okay. So join me next week. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm an open book. I love to be able to answer questions. And I thought it would be fun to come in here and chat with you guys today. Missing my mom, but she hates the cold weather. We have tried to convince her to stay here, come back for Christmas, and she just doesn't want anything to do with that. So until the next time, right? Hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you soon.